Hi there, I am Laurie, Delk executive with Send Out Cards.
Good evening, good afternoon, or good morning, wherever you are. My name is Catherine Asaro, and I am a senior manager with Send Out Cards. I'm speaking to you from Ontario, Canada. Welcome. Welcome to our training session. Laurie, you are in possession of some awesome questions tonight. We'll go over a few of them with our audience. This is a training session for our Send Out Cards company. We'll give you a quick, brief background. We're the Gratitude Girls. Laurie, Delk, and I are in 2 different countries. We are cross-lined to each other. We have teamed up 5 years ago. Through Send Out Cards we met. We are branded as Gratitude Girls, and we're speaking to you tonight as independent distributors regarding building our and your Send Out Cards business. So we have some questions that were submitted to us. We would like to answer those questions since they're your concerns. And if you have additional concerns after tonight, please feel free to submit those questions to us on our website or get in touch with us, and we'll be able to answer that. So Laurie, would you be able to start with our first question?
Yes, so the first question is, how do you balance your home, life, and business without losing your mind?
Would you like to start first and then I'll answer after?
Sure. So I've been building my Send Out Cards business for 13 years. It will be August 2nd, so next week actually. And but I've also owned my own business since 1993, so that is right at 23 years. And while that raised 4 children in my home and ran a Christian daycare in my home for several years. So so you have to learn a lot of life, home balance, and business and things like that. One of the biggest things that has helped me the most is time blocks and on my phone. So one of the big things that I do is everything in my personal life and or my business is time blocked on my calendar. I use the Google Gmail calendar. It syncs with my desktop, with my iPhone, with my iPad, with my iMac, with my laptop. It syncs with everything, and I can set 1 or more reminders to pop up to remind me about different things. So I can put personal things on there like church, personal development, going to the gym, walking on my treadmill. I can also put on there my one-on-one appointments for networking, for my phone calls, for closing sales, for my web and graphics design that I do. I put that in segments. For my social media also, especially social media a lot of times can be a time drainer, just like TV and radio and things like that can be. So you want to make sure that you put those time blocks in there and stick to those. And even emails. I don't have emails pop up on my phone automatically. I don't have social media pop up on my phone automatically. I only check those things when it's in my time block. So if it's not in my time block window, I'm not checking Facebook messages. I'm not checking email messages. The only thing that is outside of those time blocks is texting. And that's even still, I have to discipline myself that if it's a client texting me something, if it's not in my time block of what that category is, I don't answer it. I don't look at it even. So until I'm in that time of what I'm set to do. So that is probably the biggest thing that has helped me to have more success, as well as to not lose my mind in life, home, and business. Catherine?
Great, Laura. Yes, Laurie, that's awesome. I was listening to you thinking like, yes, yes, yes. So how to keep the balance? I do exactly the same thing. If it's not in my Google Calendar, which is my be-all book, if it's not there, I don't do it. But how to keep the balance, right? So we could fill that calendar with things that would tip the scale. And I believe that question is, how do you not tip the scale? So I plug in all my personal things, my personal growth, dinner with my husband, lunch, breakfast, I plug it in. Now, if I choose to have dinner with my husband, then I have dinner with my husband. If it ends up that I want to have a working dinner with my husband, I will ask his permission and I'll put in working dinner with my husband. If I'm going to have a lunch with a client, I'll put client lunch, even if I don't know who the client is, because it's an allocated time for me to have a client lunch. So I go over and the family schedule at this moment is my husband and myself in the same household. But if I have other family obligations, they go in first. And I look at what happened. Like, did I take every Tuesday this block of time? Is that the thing that I need to do? If I'm taking a yoga class, when is that class? And is that written in stone? Do I alter my schedule once it's in there? So I put the personal things in. I want to see if that's really what I'm going to keep. And where is there flexibility? And should I have flexibility? Because I don't know about you, but I could either be a workaholic or not, regardless of my schedule, because I like shiny pennies. So if I see a shiny business penny, I'm going to want to do that. So I have to look at my schedule and say, wait a minute, is this a day I can take a shiny penny? So one of the little tricks that I've done with myself is I leave 1 hour a day as a floating, optional, whatever. How do you do that? Well, I don't put in 12 o'clock. I leave an hour that's just not filled in. And I know it can be interchanged with lunch, or I know it can be interchanged with my yoga if it's not a class. And I give myself the ability to flip an appointment around based on I have a new shiny penny, and I don't mess up my schedule. So if a new distributor calls me and says, I have a new distributor and that's a shiny penny and I don't have time for that, I'll flip maybe my personal lunch for that and then move my lunch around. So that's how I keep the balance. I allow for something to take precedent over something else. So therefore, if I noticed I'm not giving enough time to maybe my meditation, and I feel myself getting a little bit anxious, like, oh my gosh, where's my meditation time? I really need that me time. I can't wait to get it. I make sure that I have that extra floating hour. And just like Laurie, I'll make this brief because I don't want to repeat that, but if it's not in my calendar, I won't do it. And if somebody needs to talk to me, it's got to be in the calendar, and not just by me, but by them. So if you're requesting an appointment with me, I'll ask you to calendar me and I'll accept it. Because if I put it in and you don't put it in and you don't put in the contact numbers and what it's about, I'm just not taking the appointment. I'm really hyper vigilant about that, because those are the appointments that I cannot change. So if you request me to be on a 3-way call and you've set that appointment with me, I can't move that one. And I need to know that. So hopefully that answers the question.
Awesome. Thank you.
You're welcome. What's our next question?
Our next one is perspective on continuing to present despite rejections, whether that's regarding getting an appointment or getting a sale, etc. Perspective on time and effort and investment over long-term pursuits of success, and basic encouragement to the beginner with your success in hindsight.
Okay, do you want to take all of it or part of it? And I'll follow you, Laurie.
Okay. Yeah, so perspective on continuing to present despite rejections. So one of the big things that I say, and that a lot of the leaders in our company I know talk about and train about, is when I sit down with someone, for example, for send out cards, if I'm going to show them the great tool that it is and how they can use it in their business and or personal life or things like that, my success in that meeting is showing them. So it's not getting them to a decision of saying, yes, I want this package or this package. It's actually showing them and getting that part done. So that's the success of it. their decision lies with them. So it's not, they're not rejecting me. They're not rejecting the company, the product, the service, whatever. The success of that 30-minute session or whatever it is actually showing the plan. And so that's all you're looking for. You're looking for getting that shown and being able to show them how to use it, and not worrying about whether they're signing up or not, because they're not giving that rejection to you per se, right? And so and the perspective on the time and effort is just, the more you do it, the better you're going to get. And the more you do it over time, the more people that you present it to and the more you show it to, of course, the better your results are going to be. But, you know, if you're showing it, like I remember Jim Rohn's training one time, and he said, you know, you might be talking to someone else. He said, you might be a much better closer than me. You might be a lot better than me, but I'm still going to win because I'm going to show it to more people. I can outwork you any time of the day. So if I show it to more people, I'm still going to win. And so, you know, that's the key. The more you show it to people, you know, and if you think, like what I always say is, you know, it's not selling. I hate selling, right? And everybody hates that, the selling aspect, right? And, you know, you never want to go in the store and walk down the aisle and somebody see you and go, oops, I want to go down to the next aisle because I know she's going to sell me on something, right? You know, you don't want that to have that ambiance about you. So, but if you think like our system, our tool is a really cool tool that can help you and your personal and or business life, and you totally believe in that, then you're just going to share what you totally believe in, you know, and what made you pull out your credit card to sign up in the business. You know, just tell your story. Or if you know someone else that's in the same industry, you know, tell their story. So that is one of the biggest things that I always tell people is just share what you know and share what you love. Share what you're passionate about, because people see that.
Awesome. Thanks for sharing, Laurie. I want to make sure I hit all the points. So let me hit the first point, and then you can help me out. The first point is, how do you handle rejection? So Laurie brought up some excellent points. One is, don't take it as rejection. Nobody's rejecting you. Think of a little child going, would you like this? And if you say no, they don't take it as rejection. So whatever position you are feeling like, oh, that person said no to me, change your mind on that. Change your mindset. And once you accept that this is not a rejection towards you, and that might say, you might say, well, that's really easy for me to say. Okay, it might be easy for you to say, Catherine, because. Well, here's why. Because if I ask you something and you say no, and I'm not attached to the outcome, I don't think it's rejection. I just think it's a choice that you made. So I'm happy to hear your choices. I look at every conversation as, what choice are you going to make? That's great. I'm happy. Okay, so hopefully I've answered that question. What the second part was, what, Laurie, after rejection?
Perspective on time and effort and investment over long-term pursuit of success.
Okay, well, I heard a call the other day on the Comma Club call, and Jackie Omer said that Jordan Adler sent her cards for 5 years. Now, and he sent cards to someone he cared about. So we start if that's a good thing or not. But if you want to track your results and say, how long did it take me? Have you ever gone fishing? Have you ever gone deep sea fishing? Have you ever gone deep sea fishing, gotten sick, still stayed there, and then put the rod back in the water and still felt sick and come home with nothing and said, that was an awesome fishing trip. Oh my God, that was great. And I paid $800 for that. It was amazing. The sunset, the wind. I guess it depends on how you feel about you. if you feel really good about you, then whatever time you're investing in your life, your time and enjoyment, whether you're on that fishing boat coming home with no fish and being nauseous and taking something for it or not, or working in a business that takes a day, a week, a month, or 5 years for an awesome business partner to join you, I say if we're in a career, we're probably in it 100%. And if we're not, it might feel like it's taking long. Excuse me. Sorry, Laurie.
Right. And also with Jordan Adler, just speaking of them too, for an example, do you think that he's happy that he sent Jackie and followed up with her and sent her a few more than just one card or one call and one follow-up, right?
Exactly. So the perspective on that is, it's all almost the same answer. It's all in your mind and how you feel about that. And we're in it for the long haul. So that was part 2, right, Laurie? There's another part to that question. Pardon me.
Right. Yeah. And then the final thing was just basic encouragement to the beginner with your success in hindsight.
Basic encouragement to the beginner is, I let the beginner show me their enthusiasm. So if I'm speaking to someone who's really enthusiastic, and that's great, because I might say, that's amazing, I see what their passion and goal is. So if someone says, I'm really excited, I want to make my money back, and I want to make my money back ASAP, that might be all they want. We have to really go with what that person is capable of doing. But to take it one step deeper, I'm truly, truly interested in helping that person. And the best way I could help them is by helping them to reach out to people. So think about that answer. Did I cover all 3 aspects, Laurie?
Yeah, absolutely. Yes. And I just thought of something that I wanted to go along with that last one too. So, like thinking about, my success in hindsight, when I first joined, I actually joined as a customer. So back in 2004, August of 2004, when I joined, it was, I believe it was like $300 for the smallest customer package, $600 for the second customer package, and then $800 for the distributor package. And so I did the middle one, the highest customer package, because I had no intention of sharing it with other people. I wanted to use it in my web and graphics design business, but I was already doing 6 figures in my web and graphics design business. So I wasn't looking for a business opportunity by any means. But I thought that, so the first couple people that I shared it with, though, said that they were interested, that, I shared this great tool that I was going to use in my web and graphics design business, and they were interested and they wanted to do it. So then I thought, well, I want those referral fees, not the person that signed me up. So I went ahead and upgraded my package, still, even though at the same time, never intending to build a business with us, and so that was 13 years ago. And so now, fast forward 13 years later, I've had a lot of different things that happened in my life and things that took me on different paths. My husband had back surgery that went bad. He had to be off work for a couple years. I realized during that time that when I wasn't designing websites and designing graphics for people and designing business cards and postcards and flyers and logos and things, those were all like one-time sales. Website design a lot of times goes over time, but a lot of the rest in there is one-time things. And I was like, as they say, trading time for dollars. And I realized that. And if I didn't have my hands in my business creating things for clients, I wasn't making money. And so, but during that time, I also saw that my checks and send out cards started rising without me doing very much, because I was paying so much attention to my 4 small children and my husband, who was having to go to physical therapy every single day, as well as doctor's appointments and things like that. And so it was a huge stressful time for us in a lot of different ways, but it also made me start realizing a lot of things during that time to make a focus and pay attention. So over the beginning couple years, I still shared send out cards with people and, you know, worked it a little bit here and there, but I wasn't really planning on working it. And so back then, after his back surgery and things, you know, that's when I started really focusing on, you know, and seeing the residual side of seeing those checks coming in, and my intention started changing, and I started moving my focus more to seeing this residual side of the income. And so, so now the hindsight, you know, 13 years almost later, I'm now focusing most of my intention on send out cards. And I still run my web and graphics design business and still have many clients there, as well as my speaking and coaching things. But a lot of it is send out cards because of that residual, because, you know, you share this great tool with people, and as they use it, you know, you get paid, and you get paid over and over and over again. And that's the great thing about that residual income, right?
That's a great point, Laurie, because whatever business you're in now, if you're working send out cards part-time, or if you're working send out cards as a full-time business, you know what kind of business you have when you walk away from it. So in my psychology practice and my real estate business previously, and I'm 9 years in send out cards, when I was not selling a house or a building or an international transaction or whatever I was doing, when I was not with a patient or a client or a customer, I was not making money. That's the trading time for money. But if you can walk away from your business and it still brings you a check, then that's the kind of business you have. And if you currently have this business and you don't have the ability to walk away from it, then the intention to build it to be the business that it can be is the kind of business that you can walk away from, do something else, and it still brings in the residual. So hopefully we've answered that question. Great points, Laurie.
Right, absolutely. All right, so then the next one is, so sent a couple of cards and received positive feedback. Now what?
You start, Laurie.
Okay, so now what? So a lot of times I do send great cards, and when people give me that positive feedback, I say, oh yeah, wasn't it great? You know, I have this cute little tool that allows me to do that. So easy. Would you like me to share with you how I did it? You know, so a lot of times that will just open the door, or a lot of times people will just flat out ask, you know, what, so how'd you do that? How'd you get my picture on there? That's the biggest thing when you're sending personal things. So I love to, one of the things I do every day is, you know, we all scroll Facebook, right? So I scroll through Facebook, and when I see somebody's picture of something that they posted, I download that picture, throw it on a card, and I send it to them. If I don't have their address, I text them or message them on Facebook. Hey, can I get your mailing address really quick? I want to send you something. I've never had anybody tell me no. And every time they get the card, they're like, wow, that's so amazing. Thank you so much. And you know, people nowadays, nobody prints pictures, right? Everything is digital. We take pictures with our phones. We take pictures sometimes with our camera. I've been on 9 trips in the last 6 weeks, and I did not one time bring my nice fancy $2,500 camera, because my phone takes really decent pictures anymore, right? And I just take them with that, and sometimes I download them to my computer also. Sometimes I don't, but we live in that digital world, right? And hardly anybody actually prints pictures. But I love pictures. And like, if you could see my living room, I had somebody at my house a couple weeks ago, and they just looked around and they were like, wow, you really like pictures, don't you? And I do. I love pictures. I love positivity saying, and they're all over my room. And so I love to take those pictures and download them and send them to somebody on a card, because then that's the perfect 5x7 picture that they can put in a frame and cherish forever, those moments.
Yeah, that's great. We end up loving pictures when we're in send out cards. So I sent a few cards. Now what? So I'm assuming that came from a distributor. Like, now what? Now what do I do? I sent a few cards. Now what? Okay, today's the first day in your new job, and we just bought a retail store. I opened up the door. I turned the lights on. All the inventory is on the shelves. Now what? I wait for people to walk in, or I say, hey, guess what? We have this awesome orchid plant today. It's amazing. You've got to come and see this. So it's how we attract people. Do we put a sign in the window that says, come in, I have lemonade, and see if somebody wants lemonade in a flower shop? What do you do to attract people? What is the law? What does the law of attraction mean to you? Does it mean to go, psst, come here? Does it mean to hit someone over the head with 45 cards? What is it? So find out in yourself when that distributor says, now what? What is it for you? Is that enough? Is that too much? Are you looking for the instant gratification? Because if you are, hop on your cell phone. If you sent a few cards, and now what? And where did you send them from? Were you using your mobile device? Because if you were, there wouldn't be a now what. You'd just be scrolling down. Start at A, go to Z, and actually find out how people are doing. If you're on your laptop, I don't want to say, what if you're on your desktop? I'm going to buy a new desktop, so that doesn't mean I'm a dinosaur. I'm going to get a new Mac desktop. And you're on your desktop, what does that mean? Now what? What's happening for lunch? What happened for breakfast? What's happening for dinner? What networking meetings are you going to? Now what? It's a really great segment. I can probably talk about this for an hour. What are you doing next about your interaction with people and attracting them? Hopefully I answered your question.
Yes. And also, now what, one thing that Cody talks about is, are you sending out to give, or are you sending out to get? Right. And so, in the end, yes, if we're building a business and send out cards, we want to get more people to sign up and send out cards, right? That's obvious. That's a given. But when you're sending the card, there's a difference. If you're sending a card for, hey, congratulations, Fluffy won the third place trophy for the dog show, Did you send that just for that congratulations, to help her to recognize Fluffy and save that picture forever? Or did you send that with the hopes and expectations that she's going to call you and she's going to sign up and send out cards, because in her pet sitting business, this would be a great opportunity for her, right? So both of those sides are great ideas, but which way are you sending it for? So if you're sending it for business, then send it and make it a business thing. But if you're sending it for that gratitude and that congratulations, then leave it at that and leave your intentions there. Yeah, you still might show it to her and share it with her later, but make sure your intentions are right as you're hitting that send button and as you're waiting for them to come back to you. And even if they don't come back to you and say thank you for the card or whatever, because the aura or the atmosphere that you're sending that to, they feel that, right? So it's just like they say, like when you're riding a horse, when you're learning to ride a horse, and I met with a girl actually last week that she teaches personal development through her horses, because horses mirror what your intentions are, right? And so if you're nervous or excited or scared, the horse mirrors that. If you're calm, cool, and collected, the horse mirrors that. So she teaches personal development through that. And, but the same thing. So your person is just like that horse. They're going to mirror and they're going to feel that same intention of whatever you had. So you want to make sure that your intentions are right, so that way they mirror that and feel that from you, right?
Right. And Laurie, imagine if you and I sent a couple of cards and stopped. We would basically keep going, right? We wouldn't stop. We would send as many cards as we could until we had to do something else. And then we'd go back and send some more cards. And tomorrow we would do it over and over and over again. And I would imagine I've been years in this business, starting my 9th year. I send cards every day. So now what? Send more cards. We don't stop doing that. And the more we give out, celebrating others, as Cody says, celebrate other people's lives. And as you celebrate their life, look for more people's lives to celebrate.
Right. And then the more reasons to celebrate will come back to you automatically. Right. It might not be from that same person, but it does come back to you. What you send out does come back to you. Right?
Right. Awesome.
All right. So the next one is, I can honestly say that I have been listening and trying not to sell. And that will give you plenty of leads and prospects. I've been in sales for 35 years, and it has been a challenge for me to try and not sell. But it has been refreshing to ask a lot of questions and let the prospect talk. So stop worrying about closing ratios. And that is one thing that, that like, I know a lot of people that I sign up, they say, or that I don't sign up or whatever, they say, I don't want to sell, or I can't sell, or I'd never be as good at selling as you, and I tell people, I don't want you to sell. I want you to use the system. And then if you want to, share what you love about the system with other people, and you can get paid to do it. But I don't want you to sell it. Nobody likes to be sold, right? I don't like to be sold. You can always tell when you walk into a store that's a commission-based store, you can always tell that the sales people are commissioned, right? Because of how they talk to you. Nobody wants to be sold. When I walk into stores like that, I have the apt to immediately say, I'm fine, I'm just looking, or whatever, because I don't want to be sold to. Now, I might buy, especially if I'm walking in the store, I'm not a good window shopper, so I'm probably going to buy, but, but I don't want to be sold to, right? And, and another thing is just, it's amazing how many sales you can make when you just shut up and listen. So when you listen and you find out about people's pain points, their reasons for wanting something, and then you just show them that simple solution to their problem, that's going to end up making that sale for you without selling, right?
Right. Excellent points, Laurie. And in relation to, I can imagine this distributor. So you have 35 years experience. You're listening to someone. And I'm assuming that you have positioned yourself listening to someone that you have influence over. Because if you have influence over someone, imagine that you're listening to someone and I'm listening to the same person, but you have influence over them. Whatever you say will be more powerful than whatever I say. So the key to selling is to build the relationship. Because if you think about it, we just bought a new car. I just basically walked in and walked out, and I wouldn't have gone anywhere else. That's where I go. So that relationship is so strong that no matter what Drew says to us, like, we're going to do it. That's what we're going to do. So if you're listening to someone, it's because they have somehow showed up there in front of you for a reason. They either had to, lucky enough to, or you set up an appointment and you're listening to them to build the relationship, because they're telling you something for a reason based on your expertise. And at some point, they're going to ask your opinion, or you're going to give it about the subject matter. It's not like speed dating where we're sitting here going, okay, talk to me about send cards for 60 seconds or 2 minutes. So the key, as this distributor has said, is to listen, to build the relationship, to become a person of influence, and to assist that person in their personal goal, regardless of whatever you have to say.
Also, hopefully so. So go ahead and start over.
Okay, no problem. So I'm not sure where it cut us off, but we're talking about the distributor who has 35 years experience. And not to repeat any of it, the point is when you have influence over someone and you are that person of influence, you are speaking to that person for their benefit, not for yours. So putting them first will give them additional confidence and instill and reinforce the fact that you're there for them. Should we move on to the next question?
Sure, yes. All right. And so then the next one is how to introduce your business to someone who's never heard of it and finds it difficult, and how is it better than Facebook?
We talked about this. Do you want to start, Laurie?
Yeah, so absolutely. One of the things that I teach in relationship marketing, so I have a book out called Keep Those Clients, and I teach and speak to lots of different companies on relationship marketing. And so some of the points that I teach on is, utilizing technology. So that's texting, social media, email newsletters, website marketing. But then also you want to do what a lot of people say is old school, but it's not. It is very important. That belly to belly in-person meetings. And then if you're not local, like what Catherine and I are doing tonight, we call them like virtual coffees. And so I meet with people every single day in person as well as virtually for virtual type coffees. And so I use Skype, Google Hangouts, Zoom, Webinar Jam. There's lots of different formats that you can use, but to meet with people. So, and also even if you are local and your schedules just don't match, you have a crazy life and busy and, you're finding it hard to get away. And still, you can meet like this in person and have that more personable touch. And then also using our send out card system and sending out things through the mail. And, that's even, the cards, of course, are great and things that you should use. But then, like even last week, I saw a jacket that when I saw it, it was a nice jacket. It was on sale, and I'm not a window shopper. And, but I saw the person, this jacket would be perfect for them. And I mailed it to them, just because I thought of them. But when you have that relationship with somebody, when you build those relationships with people, business and personal, you have that more of a connection. And so you want to do that personally through the mail and through the use of technology. So, Facebook is great. I love Facebook for all the connections. I just went to my grandmother's 90th birthday party last weekend, and I saw some of my cousins that I haven't seen since I was like 5 years old. And so, but I recognize them because of Facebook, so I love Facebook. But you just don't want to keep things on Facebook or other social media. You can meet people, you can get to know people from in groups and learn about them, but then you want to take it offline too and do the belly to belly and through the mail and build those relationships.
Yes, Laurie, you're absolutely right. And if we're talking about Facebook as being, let's just say, the be all, we're going to put it up there and say it's better than Facebook. Well, Facebook has a live option. So if I'm speaking with someone who's a Facebook addict, or that's all that they do, then I'll go on Facebook Live with them. If I can't get them off Facebook, I'll let them know my time is limited on Facebook. So if you'd like to get with me, let's choose a few other options. If everything you do is all one way and not another, if you only do face-to-face, then you cannot possibly do as many face-to-face as we do using virtual platforms. So if you can make a phone call, see people in person, use a Zoom conference, use Skype, use FaceTime, if you can do all of that, you're going to cover a lot more ground. And if someone knows that you're that diversified, you won't have to worry about convincing someone that something is better than something else, because you'll be right in there with, you know, you can't wear a sign and say, you can reach me like this. But when we're talking to people, they'll know what we're like and we'll know what they're like. So if that person's currency is Facebook, then, and I think I need to hear that question again, Laurie, just to wrap it up, if you don't mind, just to give me that question back one more time.
Yeah, how to introduce your business to someone who has never heard of it and finds it difficult, and how is this better than Facebook?
Okay, so if they've never heard of it, I'm not sure where the difficulty would be. And how is it better than Facebook? Is that the opinion of the person you're speaking about? And it's like Jordan says, when will you have a few minutes? It's visual. And I'll show you. And that's when you pull out your platform tool bag and you pick a platform. When I'm speaking to someone, I make a very quick decision on how I'm going to mirror them so that they'll understand me. I need to be very pliable when I'm speaking to someone, so I'm on their language, so I'm in their dialect. If I'm not in the dialect of the person I'm speaking, then I'm speaking another language. So it's a great question. If you're recognizing that that person speaks Facebook, speak Facebook, but get offline, get onto another platform, be a person of influence, build the relationship, because when the relationship is solid, that's no longer a question. The relationship is solid. So find a way to be a person of influence and be the person that truly listens. Consistency is the most important. If you decided to experiment and build your business on Facebook only, you would need to be consistent, although that would not be the way to build this business, but you would need to do it every day for a scheduled period of time. Even if for 7 days a week you changed your block of times and you had to change them on a regular ongoing basis so that you can hit Monday from 10 to 12 and 12 to 2 and 2 to 4 and 4 to 6 and 6 to 8 and 8 to 10 and 10 to 12. If you had to do that, you would need to have a consistent calendar and a schedule. And if you don't have that, then again, I'll go back to how do you show the business? You need to be consistent. And like Laurie said earlier, if you're showing the business every single day, sometimes some of these people that you're wondering, how do I show a new person? Be somebody that they want to understand what you do. Be the one that does something for them and make their day. Hopefully I've answered that question.
Awesome, thank you. And that is all the questions we had turned in for this week. So if you want to connect with us, Laurie Delk, executive with Send Out Cards, and you can connect with us at facebook.com/gratitudegirls and send us a message of what you want us to train on next. We do this every month and we post our trainings on our website. And Catherine?
Yes, thank you so much. I host a Zoom call every Friday with our team, and we have lots of questions. I wanted to go over the questions that we received tonight so we can keep going with real live situations from distributors. And so every week I host a Zoom call. If you would like to be on a call with Laurie and I recommend that you include your question on our Gratitude Girls. And if it's really compelling, maybe there's a chance that Laurie and I can take it to the next level. Well, I'd like to hear successes as well as questions. If you would like to send us your situation with the outcome, that would be as interesting so that we can discuss that as well. So I joined Send Cards September 16th, 2009. I'm currently a senior manager building an international team. This is my full-time career choice, and I am certainly loving every minute of this business. And as we heard on the leadership call and on Jordan's training call this week, don't quit on a bad day, and don't let any day be a bad day, because this is definitely worth it. Listen to the leadership call that Steve had on Monday and follow Jordan Adler, and you'll know exactly what we're talking about. Laurie, it is an honor and a pleasure to be working with you at all times. Thank you so much. And if you're watching right now and you're a brand new distributor, get with your sponsor or the next person in your upline. And if you're serious about building this business and you can't reach them, reach out to Laurie and I. We'll be happy to help you.
And if you're not a distributor yet and are looking to be so, make sure you get back with the person that shared the system with you. Thank you, everybody. See you next time.
Have a great evening.